Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Backseat Soccer Show. My name is Jack Toohey, and joined with me is Kyle Robinson. Welcome
That's
to the
me.
show. Welcome to the show. Of
Thanks for having me.
course, always a pleasure to have you in my basement.
Yeah.
Hey, don't speak to them. Speak to me. But we're here this week with what you might have noticed already, a little bit of new decor.
Oh, that's
Why don't we walk? We got the soccer ball.
the soccer ball.
You know and love the soccer ball. It's always
we
here.
have the soccer ball. Yeah.
But we've also got
A Liverpool duck. Yep.
the Red Ranger,
Of course.
Easter.
We brought Easter.
We brought Easter.
Very seasonal.
What's on your side?
We've got a nice Liverpool leather ball gifted to me actually by Mr. Kalika, who is once again not here.
Clipped.
I forget this guy's name.
Bosk.
We have Muscular Patrick, and the Mystery Machine.
And of course, we cannot forget down below our
The
Lego
White
rendition
House.
of the White House, as well as Obi-Wan Kenobi and Darth Maul,
Yes.
president and vice president.
They're all joining us. Why is Darth Maul the vice president, you think?
He didn't get the popular vote.
It's not how that works.
It's different in Star Wars. It just doesn't work.
But they have the same White House?
Yeah, but the same White House, but you don't get it. You're not a fan.
I wouldn't understand.
You're not a big Star Wars fan, so I get
Yeah,
it.
of course.
Um,
I wouldn't understand.
you wouldn't get it.
I wouldn't get it.
The other thing you might notice is that we're on one camera.
We are on one camera. We had to cut costs.
They canceled my phone plan.
Cancel Chuck's phone plan. No,
Did they?
yeah, I'm lazy. That's the reason.
In the reality, I just wanted to play Soccer Ultimate Manager on my phone while we were doing
Yeah.
the show.
I mean, Jack can now use his phone for notes, which we realized mid-recording.
We could use it I could use it for notes, or I could go through the transfer winter window on Soccer Ultimate Football Manager. That's not what it's called.
What?
I'm playing this. It's just FM but shitty.
Why are you playing that?
I don't know. I got bored during the
What's it
Arsenal City game.
So this week we posted a reel that got Jack a lot of attention.
It wasn't even flack. It was some flack, but it was a lot of support.
A lot of private support, you'll notice.
But I got
though.
private flack too.
Oh, you got private flack?
Yeah. I think I got 2 private messages saying my opinion on Queen was terrible, and I got 3 saying it was good.
Right.
So
And then one very public message that it was
public
horrible.
message that it was a terrible, and even
Um,
a public Instagram hate page dedicated to me.
Right. Wait, they made
So-
a hate page.
Well, she just said her profile was now anti me.
Oh, okay. Well, that's not the same as a hate page.
We'll see.
I'd like to see a Jack Toohey hate
I would
page.
love if somebody could make a hate page for
Um,
me.
Yeah,
I think I'd be flattered.
I think that'd be great.
I'd even sign your phone.
Why would they want that? It's a
I don't
hate
know.
page.
Yeah, well, then if I sign their phone with Sharpie, they'll really fucking hate me. I don't know.
You did have a couple of fan pages in high school.
I think we both did. Fan Twitters.
Did I?
I'm pretty sure we both did.
Oh, look at us go. And now we have nothing.
Now we got nothing. We got the show.
What else we were gonna talk about something, and I was like, yeah, we'll save it for the intro. Was it just introducing this? It might have just been that.
I think it was that and the soccer. No, the music. The
Right.
music reels.
Right. Oh, my. Should I do a Queen listening update?
Yeah, how are you getting through it?
So the first 3 albums were not good. There was 2 songs from the first 3 albums that were like okay. Night at the Opera, legitimately good album.
Okay.
Good album. Day at the Races had Somebody to Love, and that was pretty much it. And then I'm currently getting through News of the World, and that's pretty decent so far.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
So
the opinion of Queen going up.
I feel like, especially with Night at the Opera, there's more non-hits that are better than I expected.
My opinion was going to be, or is, I guess, that there's about 2 albums worth of good, solid, not solid, good, like good music, and then out of the remaining 13, it's like, eh,
I think we're pretty on track for that
so
right
far.
now. Maybe there will be like half an album more because I feel like the game is gonna be pretty good. Um, but yeah, I'd say right now we're about an album of a quarter of good music.
And I wonder too, because I mean, that's just a product of the time of being a band on a record label in that time period where
Mhm.
you are rewarded for putting out quantity as opposed to
Right.
quality.
Yeah.
Whereas I feel like there's a lot more artists nowadays that are not really on a record label or are on a less serious record label that put out albums whenever they feel like they need to or they're ready.
Mhm.
And I think that there's a lot more quality in them.
And I think that's way more because of like the collective attention deficit of the world.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas before, like people would listen to full, records.
But it's also all you kind of had, right? I mean, I feel like
Right, exactly.
it's hard. It was harder for people to find music back then.
Mm-hmm.
That's funny because like my parents will say they're like, "How do you find music now?" Because nobody listens to the radio, and it's like, well, I mean, I got all of music ever made on Spotify.
Yeah,
basically.
exactly. And you have your Discover Weekly, and mine is destroyed.
Yeah. And I'm comfortable going with that and looking for new stuff. But I guess to the point, like, I mean, if you open up the radio today, like on like most radio channels, they're playing like the same hits from like the early 2000s.
I found like
And
when I
older.
listened to the rock station that I've listened to most of my life, in high school after I got Spotify, I listened to the radio sometimes for that reason, like, oh, I need new music. And then I found what you were saying. It was pretty much the same music.
Yeah, they don't really
There wasn't a
play.
lot of new stuff.
They don't play new stuff unless it's like a major hit.
Yeah, exactly. So you do get more new stuff looking for it yourself, I'd say.
But I mean, back then, I think the radio used to be the only way to find new music.
Right, yeah.
So, and I guess.
And that's why I think there were a lot more big superstar bands.
Yeah, and when you're Queen and your bands like Queen, you're trying to put out like that one really great hit to get people to buy your albums and stuff.
Yeah, you put out the single before so that everyone buys it. And you also want to stay in like the collective conscious.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
And then obviously the performance and the live tours and stuff. But I think that's why, and I think that's why I find that, I don't know, I just don't think they have a lot of good music. And because I guess they weren't, I don't know, they were just throwing shit at the wall and seeing what was.
I feel like that's true for a lot of
Yeah, and
bands.
especially in that time period.
Mm-hmm.
I think now, though, like one of the, I won't name the person, but one of the arguments was that 2 albums out of 15 worth of good music is better than most bands. And I don't know if I agree with that. Maybe not. Maybe then. But
then and for that time period.
For that time period, yeah. I would say for now, a lot of the newer artists that I listen to, I've never really thought that they have put out consistently bad albums.
Because especially with albums back then, you could tell what songs were filler.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was very obvious. Oh, this is just like a throwaway song,
Yeah, to pad out the album.
Yeah. But now I don't know. Like bands release less music, but it's usually better, consistent.
Or it's more polished, I think.
Yeah.
Like I feel like there's not very rarely have I listened to like an album made from I guess maybe not off of a top label past the year 2000 where I've been like, yeah, half these songs were filler. Like most of them served almost, I would say 90% of the time, all of them served a purpose on the album. Which is just how the music industry changed, I think. And there's also so many indie artists now that don't even have a label, and it's like that whole album is what they want. It's their vision through and through. Like
right.
They cut all the crap that they didn't think was necessary.
The other thing I've noticed as a difference, and this might be just a Queen and Beatles thing. I don't know if you know other bands that do this. I noticed they have a lot of songs that are sung by different members of the band, and I expected that from the Beatles, but when I got to Queen, I didn't really expect that as much.
I didn't expect that from the Queen.
They have like Brian May sings a decent number of songs, and the drummer does too.
I only really know what other bands. The Goo Goo Dolls. The other guy sings a lot, and I don't think he's good. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, it was an interesting thing.
I'm trying to think of like my other. I feel like I listen to a lot of more.
So I guess it's more specific to like the Beatles and Queen. Like it's not a general thing that happened back in the day.
I think it's just totally dependent on the band.
Yeah,
And if you've got,
that's fair.
I think just a lot of bands that form are not going to have multiple singers because, I don't know, like I'm the singer, you're my guitarist, you're my bass player, you're my
Right.
drummer. I feel like it's kind of rare to have both in the same band, two people that could swap, that have the ability to swap and play other roles in the band,
Right.
and then also want to swap and play other
Mhm.
roles. Because maybe like I don't know, I could sing. I don't really want to, you know. In theory,
No.
in theory, I could sing, but if I were in a band, I would want to be the guitarist the whole way through.
Here I thought we were in a
Oh,
band.
that's awkward. Did I say if I were in a band? When's the last time the band got together?
September. We're recording in 2 weeks.
We haven't gotten together yet. All I'm saying is I'm not in a band and I'm looking for a band. Clipped. Hold on, I gotta. Clipped.
Oh. Yeah, this is the other thing. We is clipped like a normal thing that people know? Or is
I
that
don't
like
know.
just a Brandon thing?
It might just be it's Brandon says it so naturally when he's around us.
Yeah,
that
it makes me think that it's like I'm just missing something.
we say clipped like when somebody just like disrespects you or dips out on plans that they were supposed to have or doesn't show up to the podcast that he said he was going to be on.
Clipped.
You're clipped in that
He's a
sense. Like, he's
clipper.
clipping us.
Yeah.
But so now we got a thing that if you ever clip somebody publicly, you have to celebrate the clip.
You have to do a celebration, yeah. So Jack just did the Madison
sorry,
dart throw.
Dart throw.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll be doing that from now on if we remember.
Yeah.
To clip people.
Well, what do we talk about today?
Well, we get into big game of the weekend, which was Arsenal City.
Right.
The other, I would say, more entertaining game that we watched would have been Liverpool, Brighton,
Mhm.
of course. Liverpool fans always going to talk about that. I'm realizing we didn't actually talk about any other games that happened over the weekend. But
Yes, there were some interesting ones, but we only have a certain amount of time.
of course, and we don't really care about those other teams, right? Talk a little bit about the search for a new manager for Liverpool.
Right.
Who it's not going to be, who we want it to be, who we might
Right.
not want it to be.
Briefly about pies.
Briefly, actually more than briefly about pies. Longer than I care to have wanted to talk about pies.
Bit about boats and bridges.
boats and bridges.
And a sentence about United.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
So I guess without further ado, we'll get right into the rest
show.
of the show. I was gonna say the rest of the show. You said the show.
I said the show.
So-
So I was being more concise, actually, and
Okay. Well,
you're kind of.
well
an
now we're
idiot.
not being concise, and they're waiting for the
I
show to
think-
start.
I think everyone's waiting for you to stop talking.
Well, you're still
actually.
talking longer than I am.
No, it didn't work.
You didn't really clip me.
No, I didn't clip you. I tried though.
Alright.
It's the,
This
it's
is
the
long.
thought.
It's
the
been
thought
long
that
enough. It's
counts.
been long enough. Roll the clip.
So what? Did you like go to Loyola or something?
Yeah, man. Yeah, I did. Now that I have my phone with me, I can check our notes. Kyle's notes that he wrote that I didn't write.
That was the other reason for this, because I feel like this would be very useful
This
if we
is-
need to look up something real quick.
This is fantastic. It's
Yeah.
like now I don't like when you're saying something I don't care about. I can just
You could just
start
read
going
it
on my phone.
exactly.
I
Yeah.
can just start going on my phone.
Yeah. it's
Before we
true.
couldn't do this because we had two phones set
I
up.
know, and I still can't do it. And I think I'm the one who zones out more, actually.
Well, yeah, but you're so good at it, you don't need a phone. But I guess we'll get right into it with probably the biggest game, either the biggest or the second biggest, depending on how you classify the Liverpool City game. But of the biggest game of the season, Arsenal City.
Yeah. I forget exactly what we said about it last episode, but I'm pretty sure we said it'd be boring, and it was.
It was pretty
It
boring.
was the most unsurprising game I might have ever seen.
Yeah, I honestly at first couple minutes I was like, it seemed like it wouldn't be at first. I don't know. There was some action going on. I was high energy. They were going back and forth a little bit. And I was like, maybe we were wrong. Like maybe everybody's wrong thinking this was gonna be a boring game. But by the end of the game, 0-0.
Well, you say everyone, but the media was really like all the
Oh, the
pundits,
media
and
was-
all the pundits and everything were like, "Oh, this is gonna be intense, exciting," and I'm like,
Yeah.
You really-
No, I
really
guess I
think
meant
so?
more people we talked to.
"Yes, people
but,
we talked to." Yeah.
And even after the game, the pundits were like, "Wow, what a thrilling game!" I was
Yeah.
like, I almost fell asleep. Honestly.
Yeah, it was not a thrilling game.
It was 0-0, 3 shots on target between both teams.
You know what this was? This was like the game that all the Arsenal and City fans, they got their friends and they were like, "Oh, guys, you don't watch soccer, but this game is gonna be great. Like
Yeah.
it's first versus third. Like this is gonna be a crazy game." And then those people are like, "I am never watching soccer again."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it was just, I'm sure, I don't know, maybe if you're like really, really following the tactics of Pep and Arteta, it's like maybe it's like a battle of wits.
But even then, like once you see it for 5-10 minutes, it's just kind of the same
Yeah,
thing.
and
Now but I had a question for you, is that I saw so many people being like upset that Arsenal didn't go for it. Do you share that or no?
I didn't feel like I don't know. I didn't feel like they weren't going for it, but it's like, how much are you really able to go for it against a
Exactly,
team like
exactly.
City, you
I
know?
feel like people who say that were just asking them to throw numbers at City and then lose. Like it wouldn't make sense for them to.
And it's also a draw in that sense is better for Arsenal than it was for City.
Yeah.
Anyway, right?
And
So,
people are like, "Oh, it was in their hands. Why did they go for a draw?" Well, I am 100% certain they didn't go into the game trying to get a draw. Like
mhm.
it
Yeah.
it
No,
just
they
like
wanted to win.
City just took control of the game because both of these teams are about control, right? So either you want to control possession to control the game,
Mhm.
and whoever did that would have control of the game overall, and that was City. City had control of possession, but Arsenal, now you can still have control of a game without possession.
Mhm.
Like that's a big tactical concept. So that's what Arsenal did. They sat back and defended, which is what everyone does
Against
when
City,
City
yeah.
gets possession. So and they did it better than anyone has done it this season because they kept a clean sheet at City.
Oh yeah, their center backs were playing out of their mind.
Yeah.
Arsenal, shut down City basically on the attack
Mhm.
anyway. But yeah, there's just so much that you can ask for from
I know.
any team against City.
And like they played well and they had a few, like, not that many chances, but they had a few chances.
There were enough chances that it could have not ended 0-0.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, and
Like those same people, if one of those chances went in, like if Jesus put in one of those chances, those same people would have been like, "Oh, Arsenal, like
Yeah.
amazing." Like
but then I mean, you look at even the same way. Like what the Liverpool one was that 1-1 or 2-2?
1-1.
1-1, right?
Which one are you talking about?
The
At the
most recent
Etihad?
one.
I mean, you could look it up.
Oh, that's
This
amazing.
is crazy.
This is amazing.
This is crazy. Because normally we would just have to say the wrong thing and then just stick with it. And then when I'm editing, I go check. I'm like, "No, that was wrong."
This would have been great when we did the naming all the teams.
Oh,
when
yeah.
we forgot Newcastle.
Yeah, we did forget Newcastle.
Because we were trying to remember them in alphabetical order.
Yeah.
And now I'm just kind of fumbling.
And now you just can't operate
Now I'm
a
just
cellular
fumbling.
device.
It was 1-1.
Okay.
And I mean, our one was a penalty. Right?
Yeah.
So it's like even then, and that was a much more open game.
Yeah, and Liverpool were, quote, going for it, and they
It's-
just scored off a penalty.
Like it's City, man. What are you gonna
Yeah.
do? Like there's granted, I mean it was 4-4 against Chelsea earlier in the
Yeah.
season. So sometimes it happens, but
But Chelsea, like, but that's the thing, right? Chelsea had no control over that game.
yeah, like,
Arsenal had control in this game.
weird. It's just I don't know. There's just so much
People
you can
just
hope for.
don't. People are just stupid sometimes.
Yeah, including us.
Yeah, we're stupid a lot of the time.
Most of the time.
I'd say the majority.
90%.
Maybe, yeah, maybe even now.
Maybe even now. I thought it was a given now.
Yeah, I thought,
But-
yeah.
Um But yeah, I don't know. Just a boring game.
Yeah.
In general, let's sum it up. Boring game.
Boring game. Exactly as we predicted. The winner was Liverpool.
Winner was Liverpool, and that game was much more exciting.
Yeah, Liverpool Brighton was way better. Although, I mean, after the goal, Brighton didn't create a whole lot. But since they got the goal in the beginning, it was exciting because there was that, level of.
But even though I feel like they weren't creating that much in terms of chances, it was still it was still so open.
It
Like,
was
back and forth, a lot of breaks.
Yeah, I felt like it was very back and forth, but Brighton kept getting stopped like in front of our 18, whereas we would get the shot off.
Yeah.
I think that was the only difference, but you're right. Like the midfield was very open.
It was just like constant
Mm-hmm.
scrambling, especially as the game got towards the end. I felt it was like the formations and like structure out the window. Like it was just everybody was running as fast as they could to get to where the ball was supposed to be. So that was a much more exciting game. And huge win for Liverpool, especially given the result of the Arsenal City game.
Back top of the table.
Back top of the table.
What are we?
I think
3 points
we're
ahead now.
Yeah, I think we're back. No, I think it's 2.
2.
I think it's.
Oh, we could use our phone now.
Oh, that's crazy.
This is crazy.
It's 2. It's Liverpool sitting at 67, Arsenal at 65, 64 for City.
Right.
So
Okay.
we're 3 over
3
City.
over City.
Um,
I was seeing ridiculous takes that City are out of the title race now.
they're 1 win behind.
There's 1 win. There's 1 win.
With 7
Guys,
games left?
it's still a 3-game. It's still a 3-team title race.
With
8,
9, I think.
9
right?
still.
Played 29.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's 9 left.
9.
Yeah, they're not out of it. Are you
Yeah,
kidding me? I mean, Liverpool kind of barely beat
Yeah,
Brighton.
I know. People saying that City are now out of it are just.
And Liverpool plays
ridiculous.
United next weekend, or this weekend.
Yeah.
And given their performance against United last time, it's not a given.
No, it's absolutely not a given.
So yeah, I don't know. To say that City's out of it, you're out of your mind.
Ridiculous.
Arsenal now, maybe they're gonna falter because they were on.
But even that's ridiculous. Like they didn't.
No, I don't mean
Yeah.
I don't mean like they're out of the. I mean they could also drop points.
Oh yeah, I mean yeah.
Because I think when we were saying too, I don't know if we said this on the podcast, but going into the Arsenal City game, I think based on their form, we would have said Arsenal's the favorite, but the international break kind of throws a 14-day gap in between,
Right.
and that could have maybe affected their how well they were playing. And now that they have not won the game against City, maybe their form will continue to not be as great as it was before.
Yeah, but I feel like they'll still
Yeah.
win. I mean, the teams they were beating,
Don't they still have to play Tottenham though?
yeah,
So
they still. I mean, all the teams still have to play Tottenham and
Yeah.
Villa and Wolves, I
Yeah.
believe,
yeah, we play Wolves in the
and
last.
Arsenal and City still have to play Brighton.
Yeah, and
So
they're doing really well. They
Yeah.
look good. And I felt like when I was watching the Brighton game, it seemed like they were getting a lot of not a lot, but their players that were injured were starting to come back.
yeah, they've been getting a lot of injured players back lately.
Their starting 11 looked a little more familiar.
Yeah, probably hitting their stride towards the end of the season. I had a question for you. With Alonso out of the running for the Liverpool job now,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people are saying De Zerbi. Would you want De Zerbi at Liverpool?
I don't really know too much. I haven't like focused on how he coaches, you know?
Yeah, I say no.
I think for me, I don't know. The thing is, when you're leaving, with Klopp leaving, it's like I think the thing that I would care for more is the character of the coach.
I agree.
Like, and Klopp is like an essential, I feel like, man manager kind of coach. I don't know.
Mhm.
It just feels like he brings the club together for Liverpool. I mean, you don't want to say this, but like, no man or no one person is like above the club. But when you look at Liverpool right now, it's like Klopp is Liverpool.
Yeah.
He really is. And like
Yeah.
nobody really wants to commit to that because Liverpool should be like an idea more,
Mhm.
like just like they're more
And it is, but like Klopp just embodies that so
it. It's like,
well.
and it's hard to find.
He's the perfect manager
He's the perfect manager
for Liverpool.
which is why it's always going to suck to see who follows
Yeah.
up. But it's almost less to me the tactical prowess of
Mhm.
a new manager coming in, and more so, does somebody have that kind of character that could be like Klopp was, you know?
Yeah, see, my issue with De Zerbi is that he's so like everything that his teams do are so regimented,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not very fluid. There doesn't seem to be a whole lot of freedom in it, and I just feel like the Liverpool players that are there thrive so much on chaos.
But could he? I mean, he's doing that with a team like Brighton that kind of needs that kind of structure.
But he's always coached at that, like, those kind of teams, and he's always used that system at whatever club he's gone to. Like, and those are just his principles.
Right.
You know, like, I feel like if Pep went to any other team, like even with low ability, he'd still try to play the same way.
Yeah.
Whereas, and same with Klopp too. Klopp would go to any club and still try to play that heavy metal gang and press football.
I agree, and that's probably where he would take the team, De Zerbi. But I feel like you can't, to your point, step into the Liverpool team with the players that are there and say, and just totally switch up the style. And
But I think he would
he would
try.
transition it. Or maybe he would try it.
But I think the players who are so adapted to Klopp's style wouldn't get on as well with that sort of
But like
approach.
I feel like Endo McAllister would be fine with a structured sort of.
It's just like, well, McAllister obviously because he just came from
He
there.
just came from there.
But
I think Endo would be fine in a um, structured format.
but think
Nunez,
about,
I think, would
because
struggle.
most of that team has been there for like 5 years.
Hmm.
So they're used to a certain type of management style. So if you come in and the management style is completely different, it could just put a lot of players off. And that happens all the time at
Yeah,
clubs.
I agree. I'm just trying to think of in terms of the like types of players that are there. Like who would I think struggle? Like I think Diaz and Nunez would struggle in that kind of system more so than when they're allowed more freedom.
I think Trent and Robertson
Trent
would
and
struggle.
Robertson, I think less so. Trent, I think would because Trent is kind of given a lot of freedom in his position when he plays now.
And Trent is more um he likes a long ball way more.
Yeah. Um. As for, I guess a lot of the youth players might struggle because I'm sure
Mhm.
that the youth setup has been drilling into them Klopp's way,
Yeah.
and they probably have not had the experience of playing a lot of other systems at a high level.
Yeah, my issue right now with the manager, I like at this point I want it to be someone who I haven't heard mentioned yet. Like the Amarim from Sporting
Hmm.
is, I mean, he's got the pedigree, but he's kind of got that, like he's the stats nerd's darling. Like all the stats nerd love him, and that always puts me off. Like he just doesn't pass my vibe check.
I don't
He
know
just
anything about this
he
guy,
just doesn't
so
pass my vibe check.
I
That's all.
think I've not watched any sporting games in the past 2 seasons,
Yeah.
so no idea.
The problem with that him and looking at Sporting as the example is in the league, they are one of the best teams in a weak league. And when you look at Champions League games, there's no pressure. Nobody is expecting them to get a result. So you can just you can adapt to your opponent rather than trying to enforce your play style on someone else, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I guess you don't know how he would do um, in a team now where
Yeah.
you're supposed to exert yourself.
Yeah,
own
and
style.
I've seen a lot of questions raised on the defensive structure. So I feel like,
I've seen questions raised on our own current defensive structure.
well, yeah, but in the Prem I feel like it's I'm not gonna it's not that it's a big jump. I just don't think I like him for it.
I got no. I don't know.
And also this is just based on vibes. Like I don't have any actual.
I feel like I've got. I know absolutely nothing about him, so whatever. If he comes in, he comes in, and I'll support him.
Mhm.
But and Deserby same way if it's him. But the thing I don't know about the only thing that puts me off about Deserby is it feels like he's just kind of like looking for the highest profile club because they're all looking right now, and
Yeah.
he just kind of feels like he's selling himself out to whoever's. I don't know. And I don't really like that. I get you have to do that, right?
Yeah.
It makes sense.
I mean, Xavi
But-
Alonso didn't do that.
Javi Alonso didn't do that. But so I don't know. That's the only thing that puts me off about him because it feels like it feels like if he goes to Liverpool, he's settling because I think he's waiting for Bayern or Real
I
Madrid or
think he
something,
wants
or
the City
Barcelona.
job. Like, I think he wants
Yeah,
a
or
Pep
City.
team.
I think it feels like if he were to go to Liverpool, he would be settling for Liverpool.
Yeah.
Is the vibe I'm getting from him. And that's the only real, like, his history as a coach, like his tactics, whatever, none of that bothers me really, because we'll just see how it goes. But like that part of it, it doesn't seem like he would really want to be coming to Liverpool
Mm-hmm.
as his top choice, or even as a really heavily preferred choice, kind of throws me off.
Yeah.
But I don't know who else is even. You seen who was mentoring? Was it Fernando Torres who was shadowing
Yeah.
Klopp? Maybe they'll just jump straight to him. Isn't he only an
I'd
Atletico
be,
youth coach?
I'd be, yeah, I'd be so into that for the vibes,
I
just
think
for a
for the
year,
vibes, just grab him
just for a year.
as interim coach, or even if
Cause then look, he'll do terribly, and then the next coach won't have any pressure on him, cause he'll be like, well, he'll be better than Torres.
who was the on the subreddit? It's April Fools today. There was a
Rafa
Rafa
Benitez.
Benitez,
Yeah, there was
yeah.
a post on the Liverpool subreddit that was like, signed Robert Benitez.
Yeah, I saw that.
And it
one.
was funny because it got me for a minute.
It didn't get me at all. I knew that.
No,
was,
no, no. Well, I knew it was like a joke, but I was just confused as to where the fake part of it was because I saw it the night before April Fool's because the
They do
UK
it
is
early,
ahead.
yeah.
So
It was like right at
so,
midnight for them.
so I had to read the comments to be like, and someone said exactly that. Like, you almost got me because it's not April Fool's yet for us.
No, I read that title. I was like, yeah, all right, nice try. But
How do you feel about April Fool's? I don't like.
That's fine. I think it's funny. I think
I
if
feel
you
like
do
I
a
used to be
good-
more into it.
I feel like if it's a good joke,
There are so many half-assed ones.
yeah, it's one thing to do something half. Like I don't know. I think the best way to do it is something that's not really shocking, but just like it's a lot more difficult nowadays because I feel like you read a lot of shit on the internet that's so stupid
Yeah,
that
exactly.
on any given day that you're like that can't be real, and then half the time it is real and it's somebody doing something stupid. The other half the time it is
And the thing is,
satire.
most of the time, it's like because you're scrolling through so much
Yeah.
shit. Like if you just see an Fool's thing, you just kind of like you're like that's stupid, and you scroll past it.
Especially if you're on a site like Reddit, where
Yeah.
every subreddit is doing an April Fool's joke. So now the entire
Yeah.
day, it's like fake, 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 joke, joke, joke. Like,
I know it's ridiculous. Yeah,
Um,
because
mm.
yeah, and there's also so many like circle jerk or satire
Yeah.
subreddits or Instagram feeds. Like it's just there's so much satire already there.
it's like oversaturation.
Yeah, it's
of-
just kind of weird.
it's like it's not any different from any other
It's
day.
exactly. It's not. Yeah. It's just like, oh, did I open the skiing subreddit or the skiing circle jerk subreddit?
Yeah,
like
like-
it's just like, yeah,
The best thing for that to be if you had like those joke subreddits like that for the day, they're just totally
they're so
serious,
very
dead
serious. That would be
discussion.
good.
That's what they should be doing.
Yeah,
But
that's brilliant.
there were some good ones on Steam for some Steam games. They did fake
Oh,
updates
yeah?
and stuff. Yeah.
Oh, I mean the football manager one that they
Those
always
are
do
funny.
is
Those
so
are
good.
funny.
Like there's a takeover and you have like however million transfer budget.
I saw somebody with like a 37 month injury golf cart buggy accident
Yeah,
or
that's great.
something. Just stupid stuff. But those are good. But yeah, I don't know. As a holiday, it's not really a holiday. But as a day, it's
Who cares?
who cares? It's funny sometimes.
Yeah.
Got to do it right. I feel like a lot of our takes on the show end up with us saying, "Who cares?" It's like not riveting.
It should be the Who Cares show.
The who cares show.
Who cares?
No, nobody. I don't think.
Nobody. No, I checked. Did you like watch our last podcast episode?
All the way through.
Yeah, or just in general?
I watched like the first half of it through, but I was here for it.
So you are the only play we got on this podcast.
Really,
Yeah, there was only one play when I checked earlier.
damn, that's pretty bad.
There were, I think, 7 views on YouTube.
Which is funny because this one had like the most Reels views.
Oh yeah, the
The last
Suarez reel I posted got like 1,900 views
Really? Wait,
Yeah.
that was the final number recently?
on
Damn.
just the reels.
That's
On
crazy.
YouTube, it got another like 700.
That's awesome.
And not a single person clicked on the account and watched.
But the thing is, that's just like what happens.
Yeah,
Like,
I know
don't
it is what
like
happens.
that doesn't surprise me at all. Like the amount of people who just scroll and you maybe
Yeah.
that's fine. But it's crazy to me that we've had that many people just see it, you know.
Yeah.
Like
And it was
more
literally just me zooming in on Suarez.
like all and like one reel about me freaking out about the spider, which is no longer in there.
Yeah. Did you get it out?
Yeah, we got it out. I remember I showed my dad the clip, and he was like, "And you left it there?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Why?" And he was like, "We're getting rid of it." And I was like, "Okay." I think it was just dead in there.
Makes sense.
But what was I saying? Oh, more people have probably seen me reacting to that, whether or not they paid attention or not, than I have ever seen in my lifetime. On the streets,
yeah.
almost, you know, like.
Yeah, there you go. That's a way to think about it.
And that's just fascinating to me.
It's fascinating.
So.
And then now, well, I guess now that we're doing this lower effort format, I can just pump out more.
Pump out reels. We're gonna be a reels show.
We're gonna be a real show, but the thing is, we need enough like interesting things to have happened.
Yeah.
In the
We
episode,
have to start scripting. I think it would be, instead of just doing long form episodes at all, we should just do. It should just be incredibly segmented reels clips that if you watch the full video, it's like whiplash.
Yeah.
Like we just keep cutting it up, and we're just setting.
We just become like a comedy skits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and let's forget about the whole soccer thing.
Let's forget about yeah. We don't need that. We have Obi-Wan now.
Now we got Obi-Wan and Darth Maul and the Red Ranger and
yeah, of course.
Patrick.
But back to soccer.
Right, of course. We would never go to that.
Right. I think I just had one more thing to talk about.
I can check the notes.
Yeah. Well, the one I wanted to talk about was the Forest points deduction.
Okay.
Because we talked about this before, but I just wanted to bring it up. Like, so Forest signed 30-something players, stayed up.
This was their 2021 season, right?
Yeah.
2 years ago?
Yeah.
That's when they signed all the
They
players.
signed all the players, stayed up, and now they're getting, what, a 6-point deduction?
Yeah, which is less than the Everton one.
But they've gotten 2 seasons of Prem money and are now going to get the parachute payments. So the issue now is, like, it's a cost benefits thing.
They won.
Like,
they won.
Yeah, so now a team like Aston Villa, who's struggling with FFP, is like, do we sell Watkins or do we take a 6-point deduction? Because Watkins will probably get us more than 6 points.
Yeah.
So.
And if you're Villa, I would say we will survive a 6-point deduction. You know, I don't think we're getting.
Exactly. Like we get a 6-point deduction for 1 season. We have Watkins for 5.
Yeah. Like especially because most likely they're qualifying for Europe this season.
Yeah.
So next season, get a 6-point deduction. Okay, maybe we're not qualifying for Europe. They still maybe
but
could.
But they still have the Champions League campaign to play in. And they could still get another. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
It's ridiculous.
It seems like it's really only bad for like Everton right now. It's like the only ones.
I mean, like we've talked about it. It's the retrospective or retroactive punishment is ridiculous.
It's too slow.
It needs the prevention. Like you should prevent this from happening to begin with.
Yeah. It's
ridiculous.
But I mean, they're reworking it to their credit, allegedly, right? So
yeah, I mean,
who knows what they do? But I mean, and even then, that's gonna take so long that they might even need to rechange the rules again by the time whatever the new rules are. Because I think if you're any other mid-table team in the league, like you watch or coming up from the championship, you watch what Forest has done.
Yeah.
You watch what, I guess not Everton, but you watch what other teams are going to start doing, and it's just like.
Right. But so like now the thing is, I'm sick about talking about FFP. I'm sick of talking about the multi-club ownership. I'm sick of talking about City's charges of Forest, of Everton. Like, this shouldn't even be a thing. Yeah. Like, how is it so terribly run that this has even happened?
I think it's just that, I mean, it's the same way with everything, where it's just like the speed at which teams learn to game the system or figure out that the system doesn't work is faster than anyone can fix the system.
Yeah.
Just because there's so many organizations and rule makers and investors and third parties.
It's the thing that always happens is that the people who benefit from the rules are the ones who need to change them.
Yeah. I mean, even with like the refs and stuff too, it's just like inconsistency and covering for themselves.
Yeah. It's ridiculous.
Like it's just gonna take forever. Like you need to just get a whole new set of people in to do it. But nobody ever wants to be the guy that says, I'm giving up my slice of the pie, you know? And give it to somebody else. So,
alas,
nothing ever gets done.
The guy with the huge slice of the pie who still sucks is United.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Imagine having your pie, and then when you reach for it with your fork, you slip and fall, and you faceplant into it. It's just like, I don't know.
Yeah. See, I got really confused because I was visualizing like a pizza pie.
That's what you think of when you...
I think just in this, because it's not usually what I think. But this time,
when somebody...
But this specific time, when I said who has a big slice of pie, I thought of a pizza.
I've never
I don't know why I thought that.
I've always thought of a regular pie.
I usually do.
For this metaphor.
I usually do. What do you guys think of, pies or pizza pies? I mean, the answer is pie.
I think most people think pie, especially because, and now we're going to go off on a tangent. Back when I was in college at Loyola.
You went to college?
I went to college.
That's surprising.
Yeah, thanks. I get that a lot. So this is Loyola's in Baltimore, Maryland.
And you live there?
I did live there for a time.
So are you the one who crashed the boat into the bridge?
We don't need to talk about that. Where I was on that day. But yeah, so there were people from all over. A lot of people from the South, people in Maryland that went to that school.
Wait, can I just say?
Oh my God, let me get on with my story.
Sorry. While I'm on the boat thing, I'm a civil engineer we build bridges.
Oh, I build bridges. Go on.
Go fuck yourself. So when this thing happened, my family is asking like, oh, what do you think about that? I'm seeing news articles being like, oh, we need to replace all these bridges, which is true, but wasn't the case here. A 700-ton cargo ship rammed into a support. There is no there's nothing. It's not complicated. There was no design against it. It's not like a structural failure. Like a massive fucking boat ran into the bridge. That's why it collapsed. It's not something you need to design for against in the future because that would be ridiculously expensive.
Yeah. It's like if you drove a Ford F-150 into a paper mache house. You can't just put more paper on it. There's no amount of paper you could put around that house that would not save it from the Ford F-150 flattening it.
And
sponsored by Ford.
and I keep seeing everyone now we need to replace all the bridges. There was $1 billion infrastructure bill that went through 2 years ago.
Also, that bridge was built, I think, in the 70s.
Yeah,
maybe earlier.
I don't know.
It's at least 50 years old.
Because the other thing, I don't know the details of this bridge. Just because I design bridges, I don't know what every bridge is.
Okay, well, you should know that.
All right. Okay.
Because I have a music minor, and I knew everything there was to know about music. But anyway, that bridge was built, I think, in the 70s. It's at least 50 years old, in and around there. And that is the busiest port on the East Coast. Almost every foreign car comes into the Baltimore Harbor, to my knowledge. I don't know the number, but it must be hundreds of freighters coming in and out of that passageway a day, probably.
Yeah.
And it's so hundreds a day for 50 years, there's never been an incident. Of course, there's eventually going to be a freak accident where a ship loses power. And it's because a lot of people are also trying to make it a conspiracy.
Yeah.
Things just happen.
Things happen sometimes.
You know?
Yeah. And look, if it was a conspiracy, wouldn't it happen during rush hour?
Why would he do it at
Like-
1:30 in the morning?
Right.
And why would he send out a Mayday call?
This would be the worst,
Like,
conspiracy.
The Mayday call before they hit that allowed the police to stop traffic and
Yeah.
prevent more loss of life. You could clearly see in the video that there's several power failures.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's for some reason everybody wants to think that they're like, I figured out the new
I
conspiracy.
know, yeah.
Bro, like sometimes disasters just happen and it sucks. It's like not everything's a conspiracy.
It's terrible.
But and to your point, there's like nothing that could have been done about that.
Yeah.
No matter.
I mean, the thing that could have been done about it were like to the boat beforehand. Like,
Yes.
there could be
yes.
more safety safeguards for the
Oh,
boat.
absolutely. So the boat
Yeah,
should have been inspected prior.
But to be like,
the bridge,
the bridge, like you saw, like you realize how heavy that thing is, right?
Yeah, I don't know. And it's funny because you see a lot of people. Obviously, everybody can make up their credentials online as much as I can make up my credentials right now.
Right.
But it's like
Like
a
you
lot
did
of
with your
people,
music
like I
minor.
do my music minor, which is real. But a lot of people with a similar background to you, engineering background, who are
Mhm.
online saying the same stuff that you have said, and then there's people that do not have any sort of engineering background. They're like, I think that you're wrong. Like you can build a better bridge than that one. And it's like, cool, man. You just think you can? You just think that there's a button that somebody presses and goes, the better bridge button.
Look, like
You can build a better
could build a
bridge,
better bridge,
but not one to survive.
There would be like
freight-
you would need like a massive radius of like fucking concrete as the like
It's just
it's
unfeasible.
not
It's
feasible.
unfeasible. Like at that, like
It
that
doesn't
boat.
make sense.
That boat is essentially a meteor crashing
Yeah.
into that bridge. It's just an unmovable,
Yeah.
unstoppable object. What was I about to talk about before you cut me off with this?
You were
tangent?
rambling about how you went to some school
Oh,
in
how I went to
Connecticut.
college. I'm not Connecticut. I would go
Is
to
this high school?
Loyola, Maryland. I think it says Maryland right there.
Is this the Chicago
You
one?
can't read. Anyway, what I was saying about pie. It was about pie. No, let's talk about pie.
About
no,
pie.
Jimmy, let's talk about pie. So
I don't
right,
know what you're referencing. Is that something
Jimmy
from
Neutron.
Loyola?
Jimmy Neutron. Jimmy's father says something about pie at some point.
Okay.
Can I please get this out?
Is that the llama guy?
No, it's not. So you thought of the pizza pie, but most people I would say think about a regular pie. And
What kind of pie is a regular pie?
I'm gonna kill you. I'm actually gonna kill you. I don't know. Apple.
Wait, no.
Apple.
That was a serious question,
Apple.
though. Is
or,
apple
or
the
cream?
kind of pie?
I don't know.
What's it?
Cream pie. Anyway, a pie. It's just a pie. The cartoon pie. Like when you see a cartoon character and they follow the scent lines and there's a pie on the windowsill. That one. That's the one we're
Okay.
talking about.
I feel like that's...
I hate you so much.
No, but I feel like that's like a blueberry pie because it's
I
normally
don't care what's in it. I don't care what fruit you put in it. It could be a fucking passion fruit pie for all I care, dude. It doesn't matter.
What
It's
about a
not,
lychee pie?
doesn't matter anymore.
Have you had lychee?
My
Lychee?
point
Have you had
being,
lychee?
you're crying. My point being that people in the South, when I referred to a pizza pie, as people in the North commonly do, they had no idea what I was talking about. Like they were,
I feel like Maryland's not the South.
but there are other people from further
Alright,
south.
okay.
But it was a lot of Maryland people. They're below the Mason-Dixon line, I believe. Right? Yeah. So they're south, sure. South enough by technicality.
Okay, sure.
But anyway, yeah, they were like, because I remember we were talking, me and some other people from like New Jersey, and was like talking about pizza, like where do you get a good pie? And some kid from Maryland looked at us and he was like, "What kind of pie do they sell at your pizza places? Like what are you getting, apple pie there? Like why are you buying pie?" And we were like, "Are you stupid?" We were like, "What are you talking about? Are you stupid? Like it's a pizza pie." And he was never heard of that. We took like a poll in the
Really?
class, and everybody who was like Maryland and South had never heard of it referred to as a pie, a pizza pie. And like everybody north was like, yeah, it's a pizza pie. And I thought it was fascinating. So that's why I would think in the metaphor, back to the point, is that most people are going to think of a regular pie when you say a slice of
No,
pie.
I agree that most people would think that, but like does anyone ever think a pizza pie? Because I
You did. I don't know.
No,
I
but
don't
like,
know.
but like
the
I
minds
said,
of people are unknowable to me.
but like I said, most of the time I do think of a regular pie. But this time specifically, I thought of a pizza.
Okay, whatever. But this was supposed to be about United originally. They played like shit. They played like shit. That's what.
Shit. That was it.
This was a roundabout way of saying that Manchester United
This
played
is an
like
episode
shit
of the
again
Backseat
against
Soccer.
Brentford.
Yeah,
Like-
they played terrible. After and what I thought was funny was during the game, leading up to the game, they're like, "Oh, can they repeat their great performance against Liverpool?"
of course
They
they
didn't. No, they didn't have a great performance. Liverpool
Oh, I
were
guess
terrible.
it really was not a great performance.
Like,
You're right.
It like Liverpool defeated themselves. I mean,
United
credit
to United. They
credit
finished
to
their
United for
chances.
finishing
Yeah.
their chances, but
But-
they still played like shit. Like they didn't play well. So this is just a continuation of them not playing well.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think I'm more optimistic about this upcoming United game than I was for the Cup because I think that Liverpool's going to learn from their mistakes.
One would hope.
One would hope. Is it at home or is it away?
It's away,
It's away. Whatever.
which is kind of annoying, but
We'll be fine.
yeah, we'll see. I saw the stat that I looked at that's in your notes was about United's shots that they've faced, and they are ranked, I think, 17th in the league. Like in terms of they have the third most shots against them,
Mm-hmm.
and that's wild.
That was an incredibly weak
Sheffield
defense.
United only has like 40 shots more conceded than Manchester
That's
United.
so bad.
That's terrible.
Credit to their blocking.
Yeah. And
I guess
Onana.
Onana.
Onana had a man of the match performance. And whenever a keeper has a man of the match performance in a draw, it means they should have lost.
Yeah.
It means they were terrible.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah,
you know,
never
good
a
for
good sign.
Mason Mount for scoring. Good for him. I like him.
Was this his
It was his first game
his
back
first
from
game
injury,
back,
yeah.
right? I was gonna say I wasn't sure if I don't remember if he played against us.
Yeah. That's all I had to say about them. I just wanted to point out that ridiculous stat.
That is pretty crazy. But I mean I believe it for sure, based on watching their games.
Yeah.
There was let's see. I think there was one more serious topic we could talk about, but actually no. No. The only topic that you had left here was Roy Keane calling Holland a League Two player.
Oh, yeah. That was funny.
It was really funny. It's clearly I feel like it's clearly not true.
It's clearly bait.
It's clearly bait.
Yeah.
But the point he's trying to make is that he really has not been playing well these past or has
Yeah.
not been producing results these past couple games.
Yeah, I mean, the point that he's making is that he doesn't, like, contribute that much to the play, which is a fair criticism, I guess, but also
He's not really supposed to.
you don't really complain about that when he scores however many goals he scored last season.
How many goals has he scored since like Christmas though?
Since Christmas, I have no idea.
Because I want to say I feel
You're
like he's
just
really,
asking me a very specific stat
I thought
just out of
you would know that
nowhere.
out of the top.
Why
of
would
your
I
head.
just
thought
know
you-
that?
I just thought you would. I don't know how I'm gonna check that.
Why? Because I went to Loyola or something?
You didn't. You clearly didn't.
I'm wearing a sweatshirt.
You're clearly not. I'm clearly wearing the sweatshirt. It's my sweatshirt. You can't have it. I feel like he has not scored. I'm gonna have to check this.
He hasn't scored a lot lately.
He scored one goal against Copenhagen. I think it's maybe like 2 in the past 5.
That's not great from him.
No. 2 in the past 6. It looks like.
Weird. I feel like
2 in
teams
the past
have
7.
the thing about Prem teams is they're very good at picking up how to defend against something. Like Gegenpress has been a thing in the Bundesliga for years before Klopp brought it to the Prem, and 2 seasons after Klopp brought it to the Prem, like he already needed to start reworking it because teams
Yeah.
just adapt really quickly. So I feel like teams adapted to play against Holland.
I think
fairly
everybody's kind of
quickly.
figured out a way to mark him, or yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, it was looking to me like quick, like napkin math on there, but like 3 in the past 11 or so,
It's very low.
which is pretty low for, I mean, especially given his numbers beforehand. And he was absolutely
Mm-hmm.
obliterating teams for a while. But I mean, and to counter like the point that he doesn't contribute much to the play, I mean, he never did even when he was scoring goals.
No, yeah,
He
exactly.
was always just there to be up front, and he would get the ball and he would score it. And so now that, like you said, teams have figured out a way to mark him and kind of nullify his presence there. Yeah, there's not much he can really do. I mean, there was not much he was supposed to do beforehand.
Yeah,
So
and-
maybe now he should try to adapt his play, or City has to adapt their play to give him better chances.
Yeah, and I mean, this was always the concern with Holland,
Mhm.
was that he didn't have a lot of build-up play. And I think Pep has blundered a little bit in what he's tried to make City this season, and that he got a lot of ball carriers, and it just hasn't worked that well. But I think over the summer he'll readapt and City will come back and
Or
will
he'll
be good
leave.
again. Or he'll fuck off. That'd be great.
I think I would like it if he left. But I don't know. Interesting to see about Holland. He's not really the terrifying presence that he used to be when you go watch him. I think.
Yeah. I mean, he is still, because like when he does get a chance, you are still.
You're like, oh, that's going in.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it felt like before when he first came to the league.
He was just running over players.
Yeah, like when he first came to the league, it was like, oh shit, here he goes.
Mhm.
And now it's like when the ball's not with him, you're not too worried about him, and then it's like once he gets a clear cut chance, you're like, oh crap. But even then, he's
Yeah.
been missing almost like how Darwin Nunez at first was missing some. Maybe now he's on his inconsistent patch. Where
Yeah,
he's
because you'll
missing some
never,
chances.
strikers will never be perfect.
Yeah,
It's just not human nature. How far in are we?
I'm perfect. 45 minutes.
All right.
I think we can wrap it.
I think we can wrap it up.
We've hit pretty much everything we wanted to hit.
All right.
So that'll be it for today's Backseat Soccer Show episode. Thank you all for tuning in. I hope you appreciate the long tangents that we hit that Kyle would not let me get through. But we got soccer back in this episode.
I feel like we had a good mix this episode.
We had a good mix, but soccer is back. We've brought it back
in the seat.
in the seat. The back
of
seat
the show.
soccer show. We should like name the show around that
Yeah.
we're bringing sexy back.
I think that's a great idea.